Hey everybody, Broman here. Got another video for you, this time flying out the P47D28. I got a nice little clip here from one of my recent matches I think might be entertaining and something I can sort of give some information on, I guess. I'm going to start it here a ways into the match. You can see up there it's been about halfway, it's about halfway through the match. And I'm going to exclude the first part of it just because there's a lot of positioning and a lot of me failing and, you know, not a lot happening really. So, yeah, so basically what's happened is I've committed to some attacks here, and they've forced all the enemy are all down low, and I've been sort of trying to boom and zoom them, and haven't been succeeding very well, and I've lost a little bit of energy. And I'm zooming out of an attack right now with not quite enough energy to reset my position to safely attack again. And then I have a wingman or a random P47 on my team off to my off my left wing there, you can see, and we're both flying in the same direction away from this horde of enemies behind us. So that's where we'll pick it up, zooming out of this attack. And I'm trying to figure out what I can do now. I've lost a little too much energy to be able to really do anything here. And, of course, noticing that both my wingmate and I, or my friendly and I, are flying in the same direction in front of all of the enemy, I split off. Because if we're both in front of the enemy, as I've said before, it leaves us really no room to do anything. So we want to kind of separate out the enemy. So that's what I do. I turn off, and the two I-185s in the rear decide to immediately come after me. And then after a while, the LA-5 that's chasing the other P-47 turns to come after me as well. The I-185s in the back, I'm not really worried about them because they don't really have as much energy as they need to be able to threaten me at all. So I can more or less ignore them. I see the LA-5 turns. He's my main threat. He's the main target right now that I have to deal with. So he's turned at me, and we're coming into this head-on merge. As always, kind of fly underneath him, wiggle a little bit to avoid the shots. It's not terribly difficult here. He's built up enough speed, and he's able to turn quick enough out of that attack that he's able to stick to my tail just enough that he has a slight window of opportunity to shoot me down. He gets a couple of hits into me from long range, but thankfully it doesn't really do much. And yeah, so after I get to about 0.8 kilometers, I start to feel pretty safe, and I just level out and zoom away from him. Now then, one of the I-185s has bailed off of my 6 and has gone for the easy kill, the easy B-25 kill. So now it's just 1v2. I'm going to stop it here, freeze it here for just a second, so I can explain what's going on here. So that I-185 in the rear, he's farther away, and he doesn't quite have the energy that this LA-5 has. So I'm still more concerned with the LA-5 than I am the I-185. But the I-185 has enough energy that I still have to be cautious of him, because if I go into something like a climb to position myself over this LA-5, I'm going to slow down enough that potentially that I-185 could and shoot me down before at the apex of my climb. So I'm kind of in a weird spot, but thankfully this LA-5 makes a mistake here. He goes into like kind of a low yo-yo maneuver where he dives, and you'll see he's picking up speed here to it. Basically, he's going to try to hang up to me as he gets underneath me with all that speed he built up. But if you notice my speed, I'm keeping my speed high. I'm not really, this is a very shallow climb that I'm in. This is what the P47 excels in, retaining high speed in shallow climbs. And here goes the LA-5. He's trying to hang up to me, but I have so much speed at this point that he can't really do anything. And because I still have all that speed, I'm able to, at the peak of his climb, or when I see that he's starting to lose, he's starting to slow down behind me, or I'm starting to outrun him, I feel safe that I can go into this climb. Now I still have to deal with that I-185, so I need to hurry up and I cut this climb short, and I start to dive down again, so that gives the I-185 a poor position. and then the LA5 is stalling out right there. I've cut my throttle also, and to slow down my descent. And then after the attack, I quickly throttle back up because now I've got this I-185 who's on my 6 that I have to deal with. So I go into a hard power dive here to pick up some speed. And then once I see that I'm able to outrun the I-185 and get outside of his guns, I level out and I go into another shallow climb there. So there we go. I think I pulled that off pretty well. I'm going to insert a clip of from the LA5's point of view so you can see more or less what happened to him there. So here we go, starting with the merge. See there, giving him the difficult shot. He goes for the hard turn. See if I can find myself. There we are. This is going to be a little bit difficult because I can't track, and you're going to have to deal with the mouse pointer flying across the screen. Sorry about that. Nothing really I can do about it, I don't think. Anyways, here I am extending away. See, he gets a couple of lucky hits into me. No real damage, though. And, yeah, he's just not able to keep up with me here. Keeping my climb shallow. And then he's, see here, he's trying to build up speed in this dive. Maybe trying to convince me to go into a climb. Probably is what he's thinking here. If he breaks off, maybe I'll point my nose straight up and then he can prop hang up to me after when he sees that. But he notices that I'm not really going to go for it, and the energy gap between us is just growing. This is where he goes for the climb. You see he's starting to lose his speed. It's at that point he's getting close to getting pretty low on speed there. Now I feel confident that if I can get any plane below 200 kilometers an hour, like look at this, he doesn't have anywhere near the speed to get his nose up, but he's trying, and he just can't quite get his nose up at me, and it's a pretty easy kill there. Okay, back in my cockpit now. I'm zooming out away from this I-185, and I'm back in the same situation as before, only now I only have one plane to deal with, so this should be a little bit easier. Now, one thing I know about the I-185 is that it has, its engine, the supercharger that it has, switches gears at 3,800 meters altitude. And it's at that altitude that the I-185 experiences a weak spot. That's its weakness, I guess, at that altitude, because when it switches gears, that's when it's outputting the least horsepower out of its before its critical altitude at higher altitudes. So I know that that's a weakness, and I'm going to try to exploit it here. So I get right up to around 3,800 meters, and I initiate this chandelle, I guess. I'm going to execute a chandelle and transition into a rope-a-dope sort of maneuver. But it's important when you're doing this sort of slow spiral climb that you're keeping your speed relatively high, right? So I'm trying. I notice that my speed is getting pretty low. I want to keep it kind of high. So I'm going to pause it here because I want to sort of explain what's happening here. So the I-185 has less energy to begin with, right? I was faster than him. I was zooming out of my attack and outrunning him. So I have more energy to begin with. When I do this slow banking turn with keeping my speed high, he's below me, which means that he has to climb up, he has to pull up on his elevator, and then because I'm turning, he has to turn horizontally. So he has a vertical component and a horizontal component to his maneuver, both of which drain his energy, and he's having to pull harder than I am because I'm doing a relatively shallow turn, but he has to lead me, right? So as he's leading me, he's pulling harder in both the vertical and the horizontal, which drains more of his energy quicker. And when it gets, there's going to be a certain point where he's going to lose so much speed that I'm going to be able to pull on my stick harder at the top of my climb, which you'll see here, and he's not going to be able to follow because he doesn't have the speed to do so. He won't have the speed to follow me, right? I'm keeping my speed high, and when I see, okay, he's starting to get close, yank on the stick, pull it hard. Now there's no way he can follow this, right? He just doesn't have the speed to follow this maneuver. And I get my nose straight up in the air, cut the throttle, pop the flaps, open the radiators, really slow down, get him to overshoot there. He's still trying to climb, which is a mistake on his part, and he just he sets himself up right in front of me, take off his wingtip, and just to seal the deal, get another shot into him, take out his pilot. So yeah, there we go, energy fighting. I think I'm also going to add a clip of from his point of view, so you can see what's happening with him there. So you can kind of compare the energy states. You can go back and see the energy that I had at different points versus the energy that he had, and hopefully you'll be able to see how he's losing energy quicker than I am, which helps me set that up. So here we are on the I-185, coming out of my attack on the LA-5 earlier. Yeah, so here you just see me zooming away, trying to get up to the 3.8 kilometer altitude. You'll notice that every time he's firing his guns, his speed is, I don't know if he'll do it again, but you can go back and watch his speed every time he fires his guns, which only helps me separate from him. But yeah, I'm just waiting to get to that 3.8 kilometers altitude. You can see the energy difference between us already is I have higher altitude, and I also have the higher speed advantage, which is what comes from the zoom climb potential of the P47 with that shallow climb. There I go, initiating the slow spiral climb, that Chandelle. He tries to follow it. You notice here he's trying to lead me here already. He's going for he's trying to get a lead pursuit here. So he's pulling tighter on his stick, both vertically and horizontally. And I see here, this is where I start to really tighten up the climb here. Right about there, you see? Now look, he doesn't have the speed to quite follow me there. And there's not much he can do here. He gets his nose going up, but it's not quite enough, and cutting my throttle forces the overshoot, putting him right in front of me. Get the wingtip and follow through with the pilot snipe. Down he goes. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope I didn't butcher it with the narration too bad. Hope I was able to kind of explain more or less what was going on. If you have any questions about it though, or there's still things you don't understand, feel free to ask, and I'll do my best to clear those questions up. Anyways, I'll catch you guys in the next one.